Kenny Porter and Barbershop Conversations. We can make this real simple, y'all.
Yeah, this is your boy Complete, Shot Town. This for the crib. I got my guys Quiet Storm and Arrogant. Yeah, Tiger, the beat banger on production. Feeling that. So turn your radios up. It's something you can feel, y'all. Come on. I speak with the spirit of Martin and Malcolm for brothers willing to ride no matter the outcome. And for all the single mothers, the haters and the lovers, the weakest and the toughest, brothers who bring the ruckus, and all of my guys who win the grind, who love the hood and hate it at the same time. Man.
What's happening, family? This is Tiger X, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Tiger X Boxing. Shout out to the LDBC. Please subscribe to all the brothers and sisters in the LDBC and support their platforms and their merchandise. All right, let's get to it. My brother, Fred, from Barbershop Conversations. I got much respect for you, bruh, and your work, your platform, and what you contribute to boxing, YouTube, and the LDBC. You made a video the other day about the truth about Danny Garcia and Sean Porter, and talk about the situation with about everybody thinking that they're scared of Earl Spence. And I wanted to respond to that video so bad, bruh. It was just conversations I wanted to have about it, things that I didn't see the same way that you saw. And it was just some thoughts that I had that I thought that you should take a look at based off of what I heard from your video. But I didn't do it. And then I saw the Fight Hype video with Kenny Porter. And then I saw your response to that, and I just had to make this video. You know what? I'm gonna concede. For the sake of this video, I'm gonna take for granted that everything that Kenny Porter said and everything that you said in your last couple of videos is just right and true. I don't necessarily believe that, but I'm gonna take it for granted that it is and speak from that point of view in this video. First, I wanted to say what my point of view is as in regards to these welterweights being afraid of Earl Spence. What I think is, I think we're at the point where these fights are they're gonna start happening, because I think it has been primarily about the money more than anything. And I can even concede the possibility, I'm not saying that I know this, but I can concede the possibility that Al Heyman might have orchestrated this to this moment if things play out the way I think they're about to play out, because I think there's going to be a lot more money in the pot for these guys to fight for. And if that's the case, I think that Al Heyman could have possibly strategized this and felt like it wasn't the right time for these guys to be mixing it up in that way yet, and he was waiting for this time where everybody could benefit the most. I could see the possibility of that. But listen. There's one thing I'm trying to accomplish with this video. Well, I won't say trying to accomplish, because I know I can't necessarily influence how anybody thinks. But if there was anything that I could accomplish with this video, possibly, it would be to just get people like Fred from Barbershop Conversations, brothers like Zone 6. I was on one of his live streams the other day, and during that live stream, he did some talking about the fact that people have made Earl Spence into this boogeyman with no evidence of that, and people are not really afraid of him. And so the thing I'm trying to say is, if I could accomplish one thing, I would get these people to say, okay, we disagree, we know different, but we see what you're talking about. We at least see why you could or would think that, why people do think what they think. Basically, to stop acting like people have just pulled this narrative out of their asshole somewhere, or just made it up, or just got together as Earl Spence fans and decided, you know what, we want to say that people are afraid of him, and yeah, that's what we're going to say, and let's roll with that narrative. That's not the deal. You got to acknowledge that rightfully or wrongfully, it's too much evidence where people have seen too much and heard too much video and audio that could lead you to that conclusion. Just acknowledge that that stuff exists. That's the only thing that kills me, is when I hear these people talk like how could somebody think that? Or where do they get this from? Like, why in the world would anybody come to the conclusion that these guys don't want to fight Errol Spence? Like, it's just no evidence to even think that. Come on now. I mean, I shouldn't even have to go over all of the video and audio evidence of why. And I'm not going to do it. Because, like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm going to base this video off of the premises that everything that Kenny Porter said in his video is just the truth. And it's been all about business and that's just it. It's just business stuff. The only one thing I would challenge is, I'm not going to challenge it, I'm going to point it out. That when he made the point that when Sean was calling out Danny Garcia previously, before this fight, and Danny didn't take the fight because in his opinion, probably because the WBC belt wasn't at stake, and it didn't make as much business sense. So he was making the point that doesn't mean that Danny Garcia was scared of Sean. It just means it didn't make the type of sense for him at that time. Now, since it's for the title, it makes sense we having a fight. Now, let's be clear. You know, I should have went back and found videos so I could have just really nailed him with specific words, and I'm a stickler for words. But since I didn't and I can't do that, I'm not going to say he used the words, or Kenny Porter I'm talking about now. I'm not going to say he used the specific words, scared, afraid, I don't know. But what I do know for sure, and anybody who's seen him around that time, if you're honest, you got to be honest and acknowledge that he spoke from the narrative that Danny Garcia was afraid of Sean Porter. He was not saying at that time that, well, you know, I understand that he may not want to fight Sean right now because it may not make the most business sense for him, but that doesn't mean he's afraid of Sean. I understand, I get it. That's not what he was saying. He was creating a narrative that this guy is afraid of my son. That's the way he was talking. Now, you might want to explain that away and say, well, that's just promotion, that's part of the game and the business. Well, okay, cool, but you got to say the same thing for now. I have to point out that inconsistency when he got on the video and spoke the way he spoke in this last video that he did. So, again, taking for granted that everything that he spoke was the truth, and it's just really been all about business, and it's still all about business. He was on Showtime the other night, and he talked about strategizing for his son. So at least you got to acknowledge that fighting Errol Spence up until this point has not been in his strategy at all. And I think it'd be fair to say that it was in his strategy not to fight Errol Spence. So, okay, that's a business move. But again, if that's the reason, and it just hasn't been fit into your strategy to fight Errol Spence up to this point, it's still a reason. And it's a reason why you haven't fought him, and it's a reason why people can look at this and come to the conclusions that they come to. So again, my whole point for making this video was to get the barbershop conversations of the world to at least acknowledge that people who think that these fighters are afraid of Errol Spence are not just thinking that for no reason at all, that it is a logical conclusion to come to based off of how these guys have been how they've been moving, period, as it regards to Errol Spence, because they've been moving a whole lot different. And we got, again, evidence of we got videos of these guys moving a different way when it comes to talking about different opponents. It's just a whole different thing. And how you guys act like you just do not see that, or you have never seen that, I don't get that. I can get you saying that you know things that other people don't know. You're taking into account that things that other people are not taking account to, and that you know something to be different. I can see that. But I can't see you not acknowledging the things that other people see. I can't understand you at least saying, okay, well, I see what you're looking at. I see how you come to that conclusion. Like, let me give you an example. Let me say Oscar De La Hoya was my homeboy. We came up together. We went to school together. I was with him through his whole career, and I'm cool with him now. And, you know, Oscar get a lot of flack for the pictures he got caught dressing in drag, the so-called Spatula Gate incident. But let's just say this is my boy, and I've been hanging with him, and I've been hanging with him through this whole thing. And, you know, some people kind of question what he liked now because of this stuff. And let's say this is my dude, and I've been around him through some of this stuff. I was with him the night he had drag on, and I know that right after that, I went to the next room with my girl. He was in there with his girls, and I know what happened. Let's say I was around him the night of the Spatula Gate, and I don't even know Oscar De La Hoya, and I could make a logical, I could believe that. I could believe that this dude just got major fetishes that's ridiculous and disgusting to most people, but at the end of the day, when he get through, he like women. I could even believe that, but I don't know the guy. But let's say I did, and I knew this stuff to be true. I knew that one thing this dude, that I could say about this dude, he loved women. He could do all this other weird shit that he do, but I know he loved women because I was there. I've seen this, and I've seen it with my own eyes. This dude loved women. Trust me, I'm telling you. If I was to come out and argue for Oscar against people who would think, I don't know, I could think I know what I know, that's the truth. But at the end of the day, I have to say, but I know why you think what you think, though. I do get it. I do see why you look at it the way you look at it. I would have to acknowledge that. I just would have to. Let's just say AJ was my dude. Same situation. He my homeboy. We done came up together. And let's say the truth of the matter is AJ want this Wilder fight better than he can breathe. And I know this because I'm there. And I see him talking on the phone with Eddie Hearn. I seen him do the happy dance when they offered him the $50 million. I seen him on the phone begging Eddie Hearn, please make this fight. Fuck all this shit you talking about this, that, make that fight. I want that fight. And I seen Eddie Hearn kind of talk him out of it and say, let me handle this, trust me. And I seen him get off the phone almost in tears, telling me he don't know what to do. He confused because he been trusting them all this time and he don't know how to break out of that mode. And I see him. I know he wants this fight. I've seen him be depressed. I've seen all of that. So I know for a fact that he wants this fight. Y'all don't know the facts of the matter. I'm on the inside. I couldn't come out and argue in his behalf without acknowledging the other obvious part. This is what I'm saying. I could come out and say that he wants to fight, and I know he wants to fight for these reasons, but I would have to say, I understand what it looked like. I understand why you guys think he don't want to fight. So it's it's the fact that you guys are not acknowledging that kind of blows me when it comes to this Errol Spence against the Russell welterweight division outside of Terrence Crawford and now Mikey Garcia. For you guys to act like you just don't, you have absolutely no reason how somebody can come to that conclusion. I don't get that. And the last thing though, is I'm gonna give a word of advice to the Porters, to Garcia, to the rest of the welterweight division really. Well, it's mainly those elite three, Thurman, Garcia, and Porter. Here's the one thing that y'all could do that would at least help, even though it's a little late coming. One thing that they haven't done, we can talk about and we can argue about what they've said, what they meant, what that means, but it's one thing that none of those guys have done as of this point right now, as I'm making this video. None of these guys have done this. They can come out and say, that's the fight I want. That's the fight I want next. And I'm going to beat him. There ain't nobody said none of that. All the way up to now, you can take stuff they've said and try to construe it into something like that because it's the best we got to go with. But Sean said the other day, he said, he didn't even say that the commissioner talked to him like you said Barbershop conversations. And he didn't say that he believes he'll beat him like you said. If he said that to you personally, sir, he didn't say it on video. And we need to hear that. Some stuff like that is what we need to hear. But what he said is he heard that Earl said that Earl was promised the next fight. He didn't say he heard it from the executive. He said he heard it just like we heard it. I heard Errol Spence say that he was promised to fight with the winner or that being me next, and I said, cool. Because this ain't like the NBA and whatever. And now I get so I guess it's Errol Spence. That's fine and dandy with me. We heard Danny Garcia come out and say that he think Errol Spence underrated. He think ain't nobody afraid of him. And gave the reason why. Maybe he's not afraid of, but I'm saying we're talking about guys who've been a lot more clear in the past about who they want to fight, when they want to fight them, and what they're going to do to them. And as of today, not one of them. Kenny Porter didn't have to come out blasting the way he did in his interview. He could have killed us with kindness. He didn't have to come out attacking YouTubers and calling them broke and questioning whether they can get here, do this or that, or for having an opinion. And same with you, sir, Barbershop Conversations about people being out of shape and this and that. Well, that's a different thing. But what he could have did was this. He could have said very calmly, well, you know what? When you asked him about, anybody asked him about what he think about people thinking that his son is afraid to shine, he could have said, you know what? Well, that's the guy we fight next, and we're going to beat him. That would have cleared out. That would have went a long way. This man said everything else. He went to the tirade, started talking about YouTubers, started talking about backing his son up on the difference between how they came up in social media, not social media, all this other stuff. He could have just said, well, that's the fight we fight next, and we're going to beat him. So what y'all going to say then? That's all he had to say. That's all we want to hear these dudes say, man. If they will say that we want this guy. He said that about them. He has said, he could have said, Sean Porter could have said, he didn't have to let that smoke go to us. He could have put that right back to Earl Spence. Earl Spence publicly came out and said, when these guys have a fight, they mention my name. When they don't have a fight, they don't mention my name. He could have answered to that. He didn't have to answer to us. He could answer to that. He could have told Earl Spence to come see him. Earl Spence can afford to get there. He could have told him, Earl Spence, come see me and say that to my face. I'm sure he would have told him. He said if he didn't choose to do that, he did it publicly. So he could have answered to that. You know what I'm saying? And it's real simple what they can do. The only thing is it's been taking so long to this point. But when you guys get through arguing that these guys aren't afraid of them, again, I'm gonna take it for granted that it's all just business. In Barbershop Conversations, I have to say this to you too, though, bro. You did a video a while ago where you really went off on Brother Terrence Crawford and what he needs to do. And you gave him all this advice without knowing whether he necessarily felt like he needed it or not, or if he's mindful of his situation or not. But you gave him advice, you say, out of tough love. And here's a guy who's represented himself as far as in the ring in every kind of way out to bat so far that we would want a guy to represent himself. But you gave him that tough love. Now these are guys you say, one, you talk to every other day about something. You should give them some tough love because you're talking about guys who got losses on his record. If he's still fighting, he should care about his public perception too. He should be mindful of the narrative that's created about him, whether it's true or whether it's not. And he should be wanting to be looked at, and especially if it's true that he's not scared of this guy and he wants to fight him next. He should be making that clear. And you should advise them that what they can do at this point is to take away any chance of a person like me being emotional or not operating on a high enough frequency or vibrational level. Take that out of my. Don't give me the room to misconstrue what you're saying. When you say that'll be fine and dandy with me, that can mean a million things. That can mean it's fine if it do, it's fine if it don't. When you come out and say my son might retire next, I mean all the way up to this day, all the way up to this day, they have not helped themselves. They have not helped themselves, and they have not done themselves any good. They have not done anything to change the narrative that they don't want to fight this guy. None of them. It could be real simple. Real simple. We don't have to go through none of this. They can come out and say, this is the dude we want. We want him next. And we gonna beat him. If they say any one of them three things, I promise you, and say it with some kind of conviction, like they mean it, I promise you people will think a little bit different. And no matter what the truth of the matter is, that would help that narrative. Bruh, you say you holler at him every other day, man, holler at him and give him that. This is Tiger X Boxing. That's all I got, and I'm out.
That's all I get. Shot down, this for the crib. So turn your radio